nothing worse than trying to line up the shot and you're just about to press record and your wife decides she needs a wee and locks herself in the van. And of course, that's when the kids decide that they also want to go in the van.
And I love the van!
Yeah. First world problems, right? This is our 2020 self-built crafter camper van. I actually finished building this camper van almost 12 months ago, and I've been meaning to do this video to give you a full van tour of everything that we've done, all the bits and pieces that we've added, customized to make this van our home on wheels. If I'm honest, I don't really know why it's taken me so long to actually make this video, other than physically finding the time. So it's a bit of a common question I've been asked to do a full van tour, show exactly what we did, because it is slightly different to what a lot of people tend to do in these types of vans. It is our adventure van. It's not four-wheel drive, but it does still do the job. It's been designed and built to do the job, to get us in and out of places as remote as possible for a family of four, particularly with young kids. So we're not doing any kind of extreme expedition stuff, but it does the job that we need it to. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's show you around the van. So when we first picked up the van, which I think was end of November, early December 23, it's a front wheel drive. It's got 140 brake, 6-speed manual, but we've bolted quite a few exterior accessories to the van to give us all the practical essentials for when exploring and getting out, camping and going on fairly decent road trips. One of the first upgrades we made to the van was to improve the lighting from the front of the van. So we installed the Transporter HQ LED headlights as well as LED bulbs. I also installed laser lamps into the front grille. I've got a link to a video of my install just up here, which you can go check out. They are brilliant, especially when driving at night. Absolutely illuminates the road or the track that you're on. Highly recommend those lights. We also installed the aux beam pod lights to the top of the bonnet, which again, like the ditch lights, they just help illuminate the sides when you're driving through. It's a noisy motorbike. But again, those lights are brilliant at just being able to illuminate the sides when you're driving down narrow tracks and hedges and watching out for the ditches and stuff. In terms of wheels, we've gone for the Navis Gelidas all-terrains and then wrapped them in the BF Goodrich trail terrain tyres, which are not as aggressive as the normal KO2s, but they are still very acceptable, particularly on roads, much quieter than the KO2s, which I found quite noisy on my Transporter. I find these tyres are very road friendly, but equally very good on gravel and loose rocks stuff. Not so good in mud or very, like thick snow and that kind of stuff. Wouldn't really recommend them for that, but we haven't really had to in that scenario. Towards the back of the van, we've got some traction boards bolted to the side using a custom hook that I put onto our Unistrut rails, and we've also got pods either side of the van from Evo Motion, which gives us basically a 6'3" internal width bed, maximizes the space internal for the upper bed. Up on top, we've got two skylights, one big skylight from the front and a max fan at the rear, which allows plenty of light into the van. That was one of the key things that we wanted to make sure with this van. We wanted it to be super bright inside, not dark and gloomy and claustrophobic. And then we've also got 350 watts of solar panels. So it's 275 watt Victron panels wired together in series, and that helps keep our 460 amp hour lithium battery topped up. I'll show you more on the electrics later. Moving around to the other side, we've got the Thule awning. It's a 3.2 meter long awning, and that's attached to a Vamoose rail. Again, I did an install video on this, which I will link up above So you can go check that out, and also you can get a 5% discount code from Perfect Awnings, which is where I ordered mine from. Great piece of kit, really nice, and provides a really nice bit of shade, or if it's raining, just helps protect the elements and gives you a nice little camp setup when you're on site or out exploring. And to the rear of the van, this is the Williams back rack with a darkened toolbox, truck box, spare jerry can for fuel, and we've added on an MTB mount so we can basically carry bikes vertically, or certainly one bike, but we could always remove this box and then put multiple bikes across there, which is something I might do in the future. And then towards the rear we've got 2 more spotlights on the rear, same again on the other side, and a reversing camera up top. And then finally on this side we've got our electric hookup point just in there, and that's our Evo pod. You can see how wide it sticks out from the side of the van. So this van being front wheel drive, it has a slightly lower floor pan than a 4-wheel drive and a rear wheel drive, because it hasn't got a prop shaft running down the back, which is great because it gives you extra head height between the high top of ceiling and the floor. However, it does create a separate challenge in that you then need to raise up the rear seats to be able to get them to level to the same height as the front seats, particularly when they're all swiveled round. So one of the first jobs I had to do in building the van was to basically create a plinth and then put the rear seats up on top of a box section which is fabricated by Explore Campers, and that allowed those seats to all be level. It also gave us a bit of a storage space in the plinth to be able to store things like wet shoes and boots and extra bits and pieces, plus a little secret cubby hole for any valuables that we can just stuff in there. As with building any camper van, most of the effort goes internally, and a lot of the stuff you don't even get to see at the end of the day. But we spent a lot of time building this. I say we, mostly me, but you know, there was a lot of design consulting with the wife. So let's hop inside and check it out. This is our kitchen worktop area. This is actually something I recently added the other day. Just a little lift up table. Just gives us some extra worktop space when we're preparing meals and stuff. You'll notice that we haven't actually got a cooker. We wanted a completely free worktop area to maximize our space. And so instead, what we use in this drawer is our induction hob. Now this is an Outdoor Revolution 1600 watt dual induction hob, so it's low wattage, which means I could also get away with a slightly smaller inverter. So we've got a 2000 VA inverter from Victron, and then we've just got a single 3-pin socket. We put the cooker out. That's where we cook all of our meals, but it really creates a really decent space. And we've also got the sink there, and a little cover there, so again more storage space, more worktop prep space there, and then simply our controls for everything. Just to turn the inverter, this is the digital multi-control. You just flick it across, that kicks in the inverter, and you're ready to go. All 3-pin sockets are powered. So there's one here and there's one at the back of the van just on the outside. We also have our Victron BMV digital display, which just allows me to see the state of charge, how much battery we've got left, what the draw is in terms of amps and watts, and our voltage. So this is really good, again, just to be able to have a quick glance. It's even got temperature, quick glance at what state the battery is doing without having to use my app, but everything is also on Bluetooth. Got a little storage shelf here just for soap and nice smelly and fancy things. As I mentioned, we've got our sink and water. This is just a domestic tap. We've got 60 litres of fresh water, which is actually internal and underneath the kids' bed. And then the waste, we've got a 40 litre waste tank underslung on the rear axle. So one of the things that was really important in our build was having fixed beds for the kids. So the kids have got a double bunk down there, and then we've got our raised bed up top, both of which are completely fixed. They've got their own reading lights, and the beds are 135 long and 140 wide. And then up top, we've got lockers for all of our clothes. It's a bit of a mess. This is our table, which can then mount in the lounge area. Kids have just come back from a ski lesson. I've got a separate storage shelf and extra lights and USB chargers all here. We've got our 4 kilowatt auto-term diesel heater, more power and USB slots up there, our Wi-Fi router, which then has a separate antenna going out onto the roof with a puck, and of course a wine rack. But at the moment it's got some whiskey in there. Very nice. Then we've got this extra storage area. It's just a chuck shelf just for all sorts of bits and pieces. We've got our speakers, hats, medical stuff, extra lights, storage for toiletries, towels, medical kit. It's all in the back there. And then the kids' lockers, also for all their clothes. One of the requirements we really wanted was a big fridge. This is a 90 litre Alpicool fridge, which stores everything we pretty much need for a good couple of weeks away, including a freezer compartment. That is a bit of a beast. And then below, we've got this tambour door, and we've got our chemical toilet, which basically you just slide it out, do your business, chuck it back in, close the tambour door. Max fan rear skylight at the back. Then we've got this Max Air skylight, which creates a huge amount of light where the kids sit and the lounge area. The table I mentioned, which is in the back, can clip onto this rail here. And once we've swiveled these seats, we've got a double swivel on this seat. That creates a whole lounge area, which means we can have our meals all facing each other, which is nice. Kids have got a nice window view, and we've got these thermal blinds from Wonderbug, handmade, which do a really decent job, and they're all magnetic. They do a really decent job of blocking out all the light and keeping the heat in. Well recommended. This is our little cubby hole I mentioned earlier. It just keeps our shoes in. Nice little bit of storage underneath. And we've got another little cubby hole with some little elastic tensioners there. The kids chuck their iPads and toys, USB and USB slot there. And then, yeah, these are the kids' seats. The advantage with this is, again, more storage. We can remove the kids' seat out the way, lift this up, and underneath they've got all of their toys, bags, remote control cars, colouring in, games, all sorts, all stuffed away underneath the seat. Which is also where, just down there is where our diesel heater outlet is. So as I mentioned, it's a 4 kilowatt outlet. That creates, within minutes, a huge amount of heat across the whole back of the van. Keeps us toasty all night long. And so now all these lights are touch sensitive, so really easy to turn it on and off, and if you hold them they even dim, which really helps just set a nice little mood when we're out camping. Moving back to the kitchen area, so under the sink we've got a bin, we've got all sorts of cleaning products and toiletry bits and pieces, just storage, you know, all the essentials under a decent cupboard there. Got drawers for all our cutlery. It's a bit of a mess, needs a tidy. Tea, coffee, all the usual stuff. Mugs, plates, bowls. And then this is a bit of a pantry drawer for cereals, bread, juice, rice, pasta. And then finally another cupboard for even more storage space, which is where we keep our snacks, our kettle, pots and pans, and then more pantry below there. So when full, we really can pack for a decent 2 or 3 weeks away at a time. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got a 460 amp hour lithium battery from Frogstar. It's the Drift Pro. We've got our Orion XS, which is a 50 amp DC charger. Our Victron 30 amp MPPT solar charger, which then all feeds into a modified Lynx power in. We've got ourselves an isolator, the BMW 712 shunt, all of our 12 volt DC side of things all fused there, and then there's a second satellite 12-way fuse box underneath the kitchen sink. We've got our multi-plus inverter and a battery protect, as well as all of our isolators for the shore power and solar, and a couple of extra spare slots at the rear. I've done a full video on our electrical system, which again I'll link to the above, which you can check out. Also everything in a lot more detail, but this setup absolutely works for us. We've never had any issues with this. Keeps us off grid for a good week at a time, particularly when the sun is out. This is very happy with the setup. Rear storage organisers from Fuel Lagoon on each side, just helps just chuck stuff in there. And then underneath we've got all of our camping gear. We've got 2 front runner boxes, our camping chairs, as well as our 60 litre water tank, and then a 40 litre waste tank underneath. And then we've got our water refill point just in there, so no chance of our water freezing. Camping table, windbreak, electric hookup cable. So these are the IKEA Scorva beams for the bed. Then we've just got a 12mm ply bedboard with the holes cut out for ventilation and make it a little bit more lightweight. But, yeah, it works well. We've got nice fabric, sort of tartan effect. It's all padded and insulated, and this also creates a bit of a mounting point for the winder on the awning. Then the only other modification I did was put the doors on these gas struts so they stay open and don't fling. Right.
We went on a bike ride.
Yes. Let's get our bikes back on the van.
And get on the road.
Yep. So there we go, finally completed it. That is our full van tour of our self-built VW Crafter adventure van. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe. It massively helps this channel. I'm looking to grow it further. I've got loads of videos that I'm in the process of making when I get around to it. Hoping to get on some epic adventures very soon. If you've got any questions about the van, about the build, about any of the other videos that you may have seen on this channel, please comment below and I will answer them. Thank you very much. Peace out. Boom.
Thank you.